This video is intended to describe a lightblade power pack named Equilibrium. The reason it has the name Equilibrium is based on honoring the archetype of its primary host crystal seen as the centerpiece, which would be smoky celestial quartz. A truly fantastic wonder of the mineral kingdom I've had the privilege of utilizing for over 12 years with distinct effectivity, and a little aspect also is that this particular frequency is found in virtually all lightblade wands that go into distribution for very key important features. So to keep it relatively concise and simple in description, the aspect of the celestial quartz being a smoky quartz makes a very strong grounding pathway of excess energy into the earth for reprocessing, which is already a tremendously advantageous platform for any given disposition for being a human, obviously, be grounded Mother Earth to make a transmutation of negativity into positivity by harmonizing with Mother Gaia. That's miracle number one, I guess you could say. But the aspect of the growth pattern seen in the celestial structure has a very special autoregulatory feature that is very dynamic and reactive to the requirements of one's highest self, highest good, physical vibratory connection output. What that means, of course, to do my best to keep it consolidated and coherent and make it applicable to rational comprehension, is the aspect of these growth patterns actually work as a auto-regulation of one's highest self ratio to essentially keep it simple to meet one where they are at and work from there to ensure the frequency pitch is very comfortable with the receptive frequency in play. And so why this guy is utilized so much in various constructs is due to that feature to be a perfect energetic dimmer switch to, of course, resonate very cleanly in harmonization equilibrium with the given operating system of the human avatar that is engaged with it. Hence, like I said, they are in virtually all lightblade wands for this distinct purpose to be a higher self divine, I guess you could say, intervention frequency blow-off valve that ensures that the maximum frequency can be endured by the ideal template at where it's at and work on the highest good. So it's, of course, it sounds rather flowery as I'm doing my best to describe it in a, of course, a rational, coherent manner, but it's quite vast on really what this frequency means, truth be told. So at times, I do find myself struggling when I'm trying to describe in a normal, rational description video to notarize the extent and miracle of this exact frequency. And so, of course, when implied also in other light tech circuits or other frequencies, it can take the entire frequency pitch of whatever is around it, as well as and harmonize the entire pitch based on their higher self, highest good vibratory output. So it's been a crystalline ally that's been of the essence as a critical component for many years for a very distinct purpose as a contingency to make these rapid spiritual growths as comfortable as absolutely possible. So in this structure seen right here, of course, as you can notice, there's actually extra stray wires intentionally left in, as well as an extra primary wire consisting of the brass, copper, and silver spooled together, as well as an alligator clip seen right here, which is, of course, designed to be able to clip into any apparatus structure. And the reason this is here, actually, this is going to the custody of a colleague of mine who is actually working on a wired apparatus of great significance. So this will serve as a very effective way, essentially, to ground into his functioning apparatus, much like a flash drive in a computer, to be able to just ground right into the circuit he has developed, then be able to plug and play, and whatever, of course, under guidance and intuition, will be the final placement where these extra wires, part of the primary wire apparatus, will actually be wired into the apparatus once the testing and the finalization based on intuition and flow of where this will be mounted in the large-scale wired ascension apparatus that's being developed. So yes, like a flash drive, just like that, to be able to plug in that auto-regulatory sequence based on the higher self resonance. And so an aspect too of why this has been such a prominent stone I've utilized for many years now is that when in service to other frequencies, this also serves as a fantastic contingency for anybody under my jurisdiction with their auric template, if you would, to ensure that the frequency contact patch of whatever vibratory application is in play will meet their perfect equilibrium and then work from that point. So I guess the criticality of this particular frequency has been, I guess I will admit, tremendously underwhelmingly not notarized nearly enough in general description videos, just because, like I mentioned, it's quite the vast topic to cover based on just this crystalline structure alone of the celestial quartz. That is, in my humble opinion, in my life's work of obsessive R&D, the quintessential frequency of equilibrium, hence the name that has been dubbed for this construct. So, the application of celestial quartz in any other group of stones, of course, like I mentioned, will also bring a strong autoregulatory sequence for whoever is engaged in the apparatus. So that's a very, very important feature of celestial quartz, is to meet any given candidate on where they're at and work to the highest good in that capacity. As well as any kind of other frequencies in play, this will be regulate to ensure the optimum frequency pitch of the entire chakra column is indeed in perfect tandem dynamic equilibrium balance, so that it also, of course, can be an agent of bringing great comfort of any other frequency as well, to ensure that the candidate who is engaged in the construct, if you would, this frequency, of course, will meet them where they're at and govern and regulate all the other crystalline structures like in seen here. This is a relatively simple device with not too many crystalline allies in one circuit, but its significance is definitely worth the deeper notarization. So that'd be celestial quartz, the quintessential stone of equilibrium, as far as I'm concerned, that's been acclaimed and highly successful in my light tech endeavors. That has now been in a more exaggerated flash drive version to be plugged into another mainframe, essentially, to work as a equilibrium flash drive for the entire closed loop construct in development. I think that would cover the celestial quartz. Now we're getting to the other components. So another component that is actually in all lightblade wands, like the smoky celestial quartz, based on its critical function, is the star aragonite seen here. Star aragonite, very beautiful star-shaped crystal, is a calcium-based full light body activator, and any kind of impediments of the light body in general get rapidly cleared from the top to bottom, side to side, all the way through. It's a full unified light body activator, which means the entire chakra column, the nerve ganglia, get a clearing stimulation, yet it does it in a very soothing manner. So, of course, when you have the aspect of all these other frequencies piloting off the central equilibrium ratio, essentially, that the smoky celestial produces, it brings a tremendous acceleration and amplification, and also, of course, a complementary augmentation to the natural equilibrium this amazing crystal produces. Back to the star aragonite. Pardon my digression. So, the star aragonite, oftentimes found in the apex of every single light blade wand, plays a critical function of being a tremendous clearing of any impediments of the light blade from top to bottom, which would be contributing as oftentimes energetic transfers of physical dis-ease of all varieties, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. So this is truly one of those master healing frequencies of this age that I utilize quite excessively with great effect. Then, found in all light tech as well is the quintessential selenite. Selenite plays a critical function in the aspect of the clearing the pathways of the 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way to the Godhead, the higher self-continuity patch, which is where any given individual being's sovereign highest truth to creation can be consciously perceived via the gateway to the higher self. So that plays a very important role, which is found in literally all light tech besides this novelty pen, which is, of course, personal use, obviously, which I probably should add selenite to this. Anyhow, so that's the aspect of selenite doing its thing of being a tremendous gateway to the higher self, which is, of course, of the essence in any spiritual endeavor. Then that white ray gypsum wonder of the mineral kingdom will also clear any densities for the entire auric field of low vibration like stagnancies. So it's a very purifying frequency by itself. Then when you take the entire algorithm mentioned thus far, as well as what we mentioned about the blade band, it'll take this entire frequency pitch of this entire power pack. It will, first of all, purify the entirety of the circuitry. It will harmonize all of them. Then it will accelerate. So when you take the aspect of purification, harmonization, and acceleration, it always serves as tremendous grounds of a very effective dynamic spirit tool. So that is always of the essence, even in small doses. And the little black kyanite seen right here will of course encourage the natural equilibrium of this frequency to ensure the contact patch of black kyanite to rapidly auto-regulate and auto-dynamically ground as required to the highest good. So black kyanite is one of the most effective grounders of basically bridging pathways from the base chakra into the earth stars at a very rapid, intensive rate. Hence, it's one of those stones that are critically useful to any given functional spirit tool. And not to mention, of course, it being terminated directly to the selenite brings that entire pitch frequency of the higher octaves with a contingency of rapidly grounding it into reality to make it real and not make it a pipe dream, I guess you could say. Just to throw a little humor in there from this little dissertation. And then you have the primary blade band of this entire construct, which is a rather simplistic but tremendously effective augmentation around such a beneficent, amazing crystalline host of innate equilibrium. That would be consisting of hematite, which of course is a tremendous grounder of energy into the earth by being an iron-based mineral to ground all excess energy through the root into the earth at a very, very dynamic, strong, strengthening way. Then subcapacitated with rutilated quartz, that would be a quartz structure, where quartz already works as a fantastic neutral amplification of frequencies, particularly in a circuit. Then the rutile in there is a titanium oxide that works to make a tremendous acceleration of the frequency. So that aspect of the neutral programmed, super intensified, supercharged output in this circuit, of course, will ground right back into the continuity of hematite. So it's a super intensified clear energy around the primary grounding focus to ensure that this is, of course, highly augmented as a circuit. But most importantly with this guy is to encourage the grounding path ratios, seen here with the hematite under super exaggeration, to be a way to maximize and ensure the grounding contact patch of this autoregulation is even more firmly anchored into the physical body, the cellular structure, as well as grounded into earth reprocessing. So that would be like the simplicity of this power pack, yet it's only a few components of one circuit, but yet its dynamic range is very hard to cover in just 13 minutes as seen in this video, because it's, like I've mentioned, it's the aspect of almost discussing the vast mysteries of the ocean when it comes to the dynamic aspect and equilibrium production of the wonderful, miraculous smoky celestial quartz. So it's been one of my honestly favorite stones. If I had to say it, one of my top 5 favorite stones for over 12 years in my life's work, obsessive R&D, based on this critical principle. And this specimen is probably the nicest specimen of this guy I've seen in its size range ever by Providence of the Force. A truly fantastic, amazing specimen. It really is amazing, like incredible. So I'm quite enthused based on its beauty and its sheer effectivity, as well as its pristine emanation is on par with some of the best smoky celestial quartz I've seen in person in my 12 years of obsessive love with this particular crystalline ally. And to make this even better, there is natural imprintations of calcite in the white spectrum seen throughout the matrix, which adds another aspect of purification of stagnancy in all ways. So calcite is a tremendously underrated crystalline ally, but in this application as a cherry on top, if you would, is ridiculously amazing in the capacity to have these 7 rays of electromagnetic spectrum in the calcite format to make a very dynamic further clearing of the auto-regulation of the full stimulation this guy already produces. So having the calcite there further purifies any stagnations between higher self-consciousness and a full dynamic range into the physical local self or the conscious self, and is just another amazing addition to this natural miracle of a crystal before me. So I believe that would cover the entirety of the dynamic range of this Equilibrium Lightblade Power Pack, which will be, of course, like I mentioned, be ready to be plugged right into another apparatus, just like a flash drive to a computer, ready to do its job to bring equilibrium as an overture as a background frequency to the apparatus in development that is of compatible to nature. So that would be that. And yep, this is a very, very amazing specimen right here once again before I sign off. And may it serve the recipient well, as the service of creation is a priority. 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us.